Welcome, my friends, and here we are on another Monday afternoon, but we didn't get an opportunity to stay outside today because every TV station you put on and watch the weather, they said there was a tornado going to come down. And I guess one, apparently, a tornado did come down in Revere.
Yes.
So I don't know what damage it did, and I don't think anybody got hurt. But this is all good for the climate people. It's crazy.
It is, regardless of what side you're on. There's definitely some climate change going on.
There's something going on there. That's right. And today's guest, of course, we're going right through the city council, Michael Anderson. We were going to sit outside under a tree in the breeze, but we didn't want to think about getting wet with all the equipment and stuff. So we moved inside. And now we're under a nice, I don't know if that's a big azalea bush or what kind of bush that is, but it looks pretty good to me.
I think it's the Rose of Sharon.
So, Michael, how are you?
I am well. Thanks
Good.
for having me. We'll keep the hot air to a minimum.
We're going to talk about, I just want, my political friends call me about this Senator Havern, Robert Havern. So I wanted to say something about Senator Havern. He was, I guess, a wonderful representative relative to Woburn. He grew up in Arlington and all that, and he represented part of Woburn, all of Woburn, part of Burlington, and some of Lexington. But my only memories of Mr. Havern were he kept bringing big checks, those checks that come from the state,
yep.
They're 3 feet long, all cardboard, $1 million to build a bridge, $1 million to do this, $1 million.
Haven't seen any of those in a while.
Those funny. No, that trick went away.
Yeah.
That trick went away. But he was a very nice person, I guess, and his constituent services were good. So I want to say that to his family and all that stuff, the people in Woburn who really called me and said, say something about the guy. I don't like to get too much into obituaries, but these people who are political people thought that he was a good senator and a representative from Arlington. He did a good job. So much for Robert. Jennifer, why don't you want to put that clip up on the market basket, and then Mikey and I can, I don't know what to do about it, laugh about it, or just make believe that we don't believe that this is the situation, or what? I don't get it.
Well, I'd like to talk about the legal strategy involved in the legal fees that are going to get paid. So.
I know it, huh? It's just, the biggest thing I can think about it is that the universities, like I read in the paper one little clip, a little paragraph, that some professor from some faraway university was coming out because he's gonna write a book. He's gonna study this whole thing, how this came about.
Well, it's exciting, and it really is something that you could learn from. It's almost I mean, you talk about, you have the board of directors, you have the shareholders, and then you have the president and the officers, and all the different things that each has their separate role. So the shareholders, they elect the board of directors. So you have a majority of the shareholders, they get to pick their board of directors, and then the board of directors picks the president, or whether it's Arthur T. or Arthur S. And then it's the president and the executive board that implements policy. In this situation, you had a closely held company, and one of the cousins who I guess was more closely aligned with Arthur S. for all these years, or on his side of the family tree, has been voting with Arthur T. for all these years, and now she has switched over to the other side. But it's just talking about corporate governorship.
He had his time as a bad person there. The guy, they're all in favor of taking over the company. Now, a few years back, I guess he was the bad guy.
They have had litigation for years. And people have had their licenses in jeopardy because of that old case that was in the Superior Court.
Is she ready to go? All right, hit the button, honey. Let's get going. See what they got.
Since Monday of last week, employees at Market Basket are standing outside with signs urging customers to boycott the grocery store. This comes after the beloved Arthur T. DeMoulis, the CEO of the chain, was ousted from his position. The Woburn Market Basket is no different than those in the area. While many shelves remain bare, workers are still outside with their protesting signs demanding that Arthur T. be reinstated.
Well, hopefully the other side will get tired of all this and realize they're losing money and losing customers, losing employees, and maybe that'll hurt them, like as humans, not as in a wallet.
In a press release posted by the Save Market Basket Facebook page, they stated, Market Basket associates and customers remain fully committed to our cause. ATD must be reinstated with full authority as president of DSM. This has been and will continue to be non-negotiable. We also want to be clear in our message to any other potential buyer that we will work for no other CEO. On Friday, as a closed-door meeting was held to discuss the future of the company, thousands of people attended a rally that was held at the Market Basket, Store 8 in Tewksbury.
I think we had a pretty good turnout. A lot of support from vendors, customers, all the associates, the media, all the food places have been delivering to us and keeping us hydrated and cooled off.
It's hard tea we choose and we'll keep it in the news and
It's just unbelievable. I can't believe how many people are here, how many customers support us, and how many people have to go without the cheap products that they're used to try to support us for this whole entire week. And hopefully it ends after this week.
we are Market Basket strong. We're not gonna take it. We are Market Basket. We're not gonna take it anymore.
Friday evening, the company released a statement that includes, "We welcome back associates who are committed to Market Basket's customers. There will be no penalty or discipline for any associate who joins in what will be a significant effort to return to the unparalleled level of performance and customer service that has been hallmarks of the Market Basket brand. There will be no change to Market Basket's unmatched compensation and benefits." This, unfortunately, has been found false as warehouse workers in Andover were turned away by security this morning when they arrived to work. As the fate of Market Basket is unknown, workers hope that things will return to normal.
Most of us have family that work here. I'd say a good percentage of us. And we just want to keep it the way him and his father did years ago.
All right. Now that was produced by two of the young ladies that work here in the station, Jennifer Gatta and Stephanie Seidman. And they went out and they talked to all these people, and all of the people who spoke on the TV signed waivers so that they could, we're not gonna get sued for saying anything bad. But they couldn't get over the fact that how cooperative the people even in the stores were when they went in the store to look around. The managers, the people in the parking lot, it's just a big public relations nightmare at this point, Mike.
If you're in the board of directors, this is a public relations nightmare. I mean, what is a company? Is it the shareholders? Is it the executive board?
Yeah.
Or is it your staff, the employees? Which I think it's a mixture of all of them. But what the public sees is the employees on a day-in-day basis. So that's why there's a lot of sympathy with their position. It's too bad you couldn't get an employee group together to buy the company.
But well, that'll probably come up too. Somebody will say that. We'll try that. But they have all the studies, all these years of all these business schools have been doing all these studies relative to if you shut down your business for a week or go on vacation for a month, you come back, all of a sudden you lose half your customers because they went someplace else. And I don't know how that affects the food business because it's all by price, I guess.
Well, as an anecdotal story to you, I was talking to someone the other day and they decided to go to Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
And right now Stop and Shop is, things that they never put on sale. They're trying to, they got the opportunity, they have the people in there, they're trying to hook them, and they're trying to get them.
They'll get a few, I guess.
Right, I'm sure they will.
It's a proven point. But it'll be an interesting thing to watch. And I think from another point of view, not a political point of view, but I'd be real interested to know but how a spontaneous crowd can grow from this type of activity in a week to 25,000 people. You know what I mean? Without any leadership, there's no local 25 or the United Electrical Workers or people, business agents telling them to get out there and yell and holler and do all that. These people do this all on their own. Every sign is made by somebody at home with a lipstick thing or whatever. Right.
Well, there's not a lobbyist who's organizing it. It's social media. And I think, as we've seen on the news, you have foremen and supervisors, whatever their roles are, who are spearheading it. And the people below them, they have loyalty to them. You know, I think, to your point, you know, are they going to lose a lot of customers? You know, in Burlington, Woburn, Tewksbury, where they are part of the community, I think
Yeah.
the
I think
customer base will
people
come
will,
out. But they have a
yeah.
lot of buildings that they just built that they haven't even started moving product on.
yeah.
What's going to happen to those places?
In places where they are really hurting, like people in Gloucester, they just opened a big brand new store there, you know, and a big brand new store, big store in Chelsea, like, you know, to compete with some of these Stop and Shop and Star
Right.
Market. And they're doing very well. So we'll see, be interesting what happens. But we can't spend too much time on that. We'll be here all night
That's
talking
true.
about
It's
her.
not our problem, I guess.
So what's like the idea of being outside and talking, of course you've done this before, is that we wanted to find out what was going on in the ward, you know, and review some of the things we had. We talked to Rosa, she was down the pond, and you know, talking about things going on in her ward, basically, not that much, but she has the pond, and we try to get her to not to have too much of a negative image down there, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because she was yelling about the benches and the stuff like that. But anyway, we had a few laughs. It was good. So Dickie, we couldn't get him in because he works like during the day. So we'd have to get him in at night or something. And I don't know where Mark Gaffney is. He'll be in. But what do you think is going on? I got a complaint in Ward 4.
Okay, let's hear it.
I hear it. It's the water thing they get in the cemetery. I think that's got to be changed. Old people, they when they hot top all the streets in the cemetery, I think they damaged some of the water pipes that went through there because they're probably only under the ground that far. And they're probably been put in there in 1800. So now,
you're telling me some of the spigots aren't working now?
yeah, that's right. So what they did was
Well, I'm going to hear that from my wife.
They put 55-gallon drums out there on things that hold them, you know, laying flat like this is. So you can go up there, and they fill them up. I don't know how often they fill them up. You can go up there and you put your little thing underneath and you hold it and you fill it up. Now, I said, only old people go to the cemetery. Kids go to the cemetery to tip over the stones at night, late, you know, a little
Hijinks.
They're bad boys, you know, they're about 13 years old. What are we gonna do? Somebody leans on one that wiggles, they say, hey, we could tip these over, you know, so
Yeah,
we forget about that.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
No, nobody's happy about it, and they don't get it, but I'm sure after they hear about it a week, then it goes away for 5 years, and then 5 years from now, people will do the same thing, they just do it. But the men have died, the old ladies up there do something, put the flowers there and everything, Memorial Day, all that stuff. So now you get your little bucket of water, you got to walk 100 yards to get it over there. You know what I mean? It's just not right. It doesn't even look good as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know what they're going to do about it, but they should get either do more of them so that they're more centrally located or whatever. But I think it just doesn't look right. It just looks lousy.
No,
But
it's a
complaint.
practical consideration. I know when my wife goes up, she'll bring jugs. But, you know, if you're older, you really don't want to be carrying jugs around.
No, it's too far.
It's the same issue with down at the pond, down by the water plant, where you have the nice flowers around the
Yeah.
benches and the memorials. There's no place to get water. Go
No
to the
place to
pond.
get water.
I mean, you're at the pond. There's no
Yeah.
place to get water.
I know
The water plant's right there.
Yeah, that's interesting. But what else is in the way? What about North Woburn? You got North Woburn.
We have so we got infrastructure, we got roads being done, we have the water mains being cleaned and lined, which
Wow,
they come in, they clean them, they line them, they move on.
There's a lot of stuff going on though, huh?
It's everywhere, which
And the gas company seems to be, what did they do? Get a note from somebody saying, get over there to Woburn, so once we get through in Woburn, we'll never have to go back there?
Well,
now.
Jay Duran, who gets a lot of criticism because he's hard on these companies, this is where we should pat him on the back, because he's been very aggressive with the gas companies, saying, listen, we're doing this road, you're not getting in again, so if you want to get in, you better get in now. And they've been working with him, and they've been trying to get ahead of the paving so they can get in there, because otherwise you get the moratorium.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's been a lot's being done. Thankfully, it's good to see that it's happening in a non-election year, so it's not a election device or tool. It's this mayor has been very aggressive, as the city council, in getting the infrastructure addressed and dealing with these issues. So You know,
But
it's
where's
kind
the
of
money?
an
Where's
inconvenience
he get all
sometimes.
this money? I don't get where's he getting all this money? He has a lot of free cash.
We
because
have-
he has money in that restaurant taxes account. That's a big deal.
That goes
there.
right to free cash.
That's right. So he can spend some of that. I don't know how Chapter 90 money doesn't do streets that are just small streets and stuff.
Well, it does the ones that are public ways, and we
It
do
does
have.
all of them?
Yeah, well, we have discretion on how the money's allocated, and as long as it's a public way and been accepted by the city, that, you know, how
I
much,
thought it was-
that's why a big push has been on the last year or so to
Yeah.
get more streets declared public ways or legal streets, because the more streets you have, the more money you're eligible for.
I thought there was a Chapter 90, it had to be for a road that went from here to there, like Wyman Street, for instance, goes a long street. I
Yeah.
didn't think the little side streets counted as Chapter 90 money. But you're probably.
Well, I'm
I
not
don't
entirely
know.
sure, but my understanding was that
All of
it's
them.
based
Yeah, well,
on the
that's the
public
way,
ways.
I agree, that's the way it's been presented in the paper over the past couple of years, to get all those people, all those streets accepted, so you could get more money out of the state.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, okay. So other than that, North Woburn seems to be, I read the paper and.
Those are the condos, I mean, well documented. I was not
855, there's a list of them,
spearheading that.
855 every week.
I know.
There's 10 sold.
Over 400, most of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they look beautiful. They look great. I mean, I still think you could have put R1 properties in there, but
Yeah, right,
this is
yeah.
the second best thing. It looks great. It is a window to, or a gateway to North Woburn.
Yeah.
It's very attractive. You know, no
And of course
complaints. And
the-
they've done a great job working with the neighbors, trying to, you know, there's always going to be complaints.
Yeah.
You're putting a big project in, you're taking down a lot of trees, there's noise. But Seavers people have been very cooperative in trying to address any problems of the neighbors.
I'll
so.
be interested to see how the back turns out, you know, the back along the canal, and that, to get that dressed up, because I think that would be a perfect place for a young mother to walk a baby carriage along the canal, you know, and get it squared away a little bit better than it looks. Of course,
It's going to be great. Mike Raymond's done a great job spearheading
Yeah,
that effort.
yeah.
He's been hunting those dollars to get that done. And when we did the project, we kept that in mind. So that'll be really nice. I mean, if you
And
can
the
walk-
Alzheimer's place is like, they must be full and operating now. He's been there a year or so, right? Couple, maybe two.
They broke ground over a year ago.
Yeah,
So people have moved in.
He put people right in there
Yeah.
quickly.
Oh yeah, people are in.
And then he added a little addition on the back. I think that was something maybe that he wanted to change or something. Made a little thing in the back, came before the council or something. Wasn't in the original permit.
The foundation had to be moved like 18 inches, and
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't a big deal. Although you do want to say to yourself, why didn't the architect, instead
of
of
that
going
in
through
the
this whole
beginning?
rigmarole, here's the plan, just fit it within the plan. But it was addressed, and then there were some of the decks. Instead of being patios, they became decks, and they had to go back to
Yeah.
conservation. But it's all going to be good.
Is the church, you think, ever going to build their building where they got the money for it? Who knows what they're going to do?
Who knows?
huh?
Let's hope the church.
Who heard? Maybe there won't be a church there. That's the next thing.
You know, when it comes to churches, that's always a valid question. It's let's hope it stays viable. Now you got a whole new population moving in there. They're going to be looking for a church to go, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. That's
it's-
right.
it's a
yeah.
ni- it's a
There's
nice,
gonna be a
wonderful
whole
facility.
new neighborhood. It's going to be a whole new neighborhood there. I mean, there's a few people.
Right,
living
so I
there.
wouldn't write that off yet.
No,
It's still their
no.
game plan.
So that's about it for you guys. North Woburn, I'm all the way up to North Woburn. I can't believe how.
Well, we got a firehouse that we're going to be dealing with in the near future. We have the Harold Wyman School that we're going to have to be, that's
Well, I
coming
mean,
up.
that's- yeah.
Like a,
Do you have the Harold Wyman in your ward?
well, the Wyman is in
Wyman is in
my
your ward.
ward, and that's the primary school that needs
Now,
to be
where they going to
addressed.
build this new school? Don't say we haven't heard the information from the guy yet, though.
Well, it's like
it's
it's
like a Patriots answer.
Well, no, I mean, it's like an avalanche. It's like a giant snowball gaining speed, going down the mountain. And when you see the architect present the three properties that are the potential sites, you obviously see that everything's gearing towards the farm stand site, which is very unfortunate. But when you look at it, it's clearly the best parcel. My hope was that they
Is there a farm stand there now? Is it working?
No.
Did they have a farm stand this year?
No, we've never. They don't have the farmers market this year. Apparently, there was not enough interest in it, so that's not happening. We're not farming the land in the back, but it is good to have for irrigation. So, if you know, originally my feeling was that I'm absolutely against a building going in there because we got
Yeah.
that for open space. But the reality is, if the state's gonna put up over half the price for it, it's gonna be the best location. If they put a building there, they have to make sure that all the water remains on site. It has to be better, or engineered better than what it is now. And if somehow we can keep that farm stand and the land that we're using for the farmer's market now, which I would think on that site we should be able to do. They're looking at smaller
I don't
sites.
see any problem with that.
Then let's do it that way. Let's make them both work together.
I agree that the neighbors have a complaint. They have a complaint. If I had 2 or 3 inches of water every time it was a big storm in my cellar, I'd be sitting on the mayor's desk, never mind, you know, because somebody's got to do something about that. But it's beyond the city of Woburn's ability. You know, I mean, all we can do is the planning board can only deal with the piece of paper that comes in each one. Here's one for 27 houses, here's one for 50 houses. They don't get to see the whole project, you know what I mean?
It's a giant engineering project that would mean getting the water from that part of the city
to Horn Pond.
Down to Horn Pond.
That's
and
right.
And that's got to be
dealt
dealt
with. That's
with.
a DEP project that you won't see because...
Army Corps of Engineer, probably.
You can't, I mean, we can't even get the bridge built out there, you know what I mean? So it's unfortunate. I think I think you're right as far as that's the best lot. But I think those people have to continue to stand their ground as far as the flooding of their backyards or their houses are concerned.
If that's going to go in there, which which I've been reluctant to agree to all along, but if it is, the school is going to end up being there, then I want that thing. It has to be engineered to the nth degree. So if they say that 100 tanks will do the job to keep the water here, then put 200.
Prove it. That's right. I'll go for that. They have guys that do it, except the fact that you pay these engineers and they come up with a plan. It's the same as the traffic surveys. You know what I mean? You can't see. You got to have.
I've never seen them say, "Yeah, right, that we can't do it. We can't engineer it." It's never an option.
Never an option.
It's never that there'll be more traffic. There's no traffic impact from any development.
No. So I think that's pretty much. I can't believe that somebody would say that the Mormon church is centrally located for the school. It's in the corner. It's in Burlington almost.
Well, it's kind of in between. If you look at a map, it's kind of in between the Hurl and the Wyman.
You'd have to.
It's kind of on the back side.
Yeah, on the back side. Yeah, okay,
of a triangle, I suppose.
Yeah, a triangle. That's
it's not the hypotenuse if you made 3 points.
Yeah,
but,
that's right. But it's not centrally located. You know. Somebody else said that. I said that's craziness. You know, we have to the buses that have to go through part of Burlington to drop the kids off.
Well, I know the mayor hasn't given up on that possibility as a site, because that would be a good site. It would allow us to keep open space. I know he's talking to the church representatives. They did allow us to go on the property, gave us permission to do some test borings. So they haven't said no outright. So I know that's still a small possibility, but then you're going to get into the situation of, okay, we have to buy the land.
Yep.
And is the mayor going to have the support of the city council to buy the land?
Is he going to have the support of himself?
Well,
you know what I mean? Because he's just not he's not a buyer.
No, he's not.
Not a buyer.
He's not. He's.
He'll do the research, and when the decision is made, it comes down. Then he'll say, "I did the research." He's not going to say, ignore it totally, the whole thing, you know what I mean?
No, but there's a lot of moving parts, to be fair, and I know he's aware of them because we've discussed it, but you could try to make it neutral, and I know, and President Haggerty and I have discussed this as well, where maybe you put the other parcels into play, so you have the Hurled site. We're not going to use that Hurled site anymore. Do we need to keep that property? I mean, it'd be nice to have that as open space, but we can't have open space anywhere. If we bought another parcel, maybe we could sell that to defray the cost, or maybe we can develop up at the Wyman School. You have a beautiful castle of a building there that could be gorgeous condominiums.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen there. I can almost guarantee that.
Well, that building's got to be saved. Yeah. No one's taking that building down, so that would be the most viable option.
Too bad we didn't. We took down buildings a long time ago. Down in the south end where the fire station is, we took that school down.
Right.
A couple of schools that were almost in the center of town, one on Union Street, the other one near the restaurant, the parking lot school there. They would have been perfect, but nobody thought about doing condos. I don't even think anybody could spell condo when they tore those schools down. You know what I
True.
mean? That was always way back.
True.
Way,
No.
way back in the
Well,
50s or the 60s. So they went very quickly.
Well, now we're the big thing we got to focus on. I think just throwing a parking garage on top of Walnut Hill is not necessarily going to be the answer. There's got to be some private, public partnership to take some of those storefronts and use them, you know, as part of a larger project where we put a big garage in back and maybe put some storefronts in the front and maybe some condo units up top. But there's someone with some a much higher planning degree than I have needs to roll up their sleeves and take a look at the Woburn Center from a whole different perspective. One that just says, you know what, we can do a public-private partnership here, because you just can't stick a building in the back there, a parking garage. It's going to look hideous.
Well, I don't know if it would look hideous at 2 stories high. I mean, if it was filled up and then you're going higher and all that kind of stuff. But I think that I forget how many parking spaces are there. But I mean, we were going to have a study, and the police department was going to check registrations to see how many people were catching a bus. You know, if somebody suggested move that bus stop to the next bus stop up the street, up by Auburn Street, up by the Greek church, you know, those people would say, what do you mean, I got to park there, walk way up there to get the bus? But it's an idea to knock them off, and how many people are there all day? You know, I think that...
Oh, anyone who takes that, I see the people waiting for the bus in front of the Anchor Baptist Church right there. It's, you know, every 15 minutes or whatever goes in, there's a large group. And they're not going in for 15-minute meetings, they're going in all day. So there's a lot of cars that they're all day. Right. And I don't begrudge them that. It's public parking. But it does impact downtown Woburn and where people can park. And
I wonder if the redevelopment authority ever went around and asked how many, I don't even know how many stores are there in the center, say from the restaurant to Roma's Bakery, you know, say how many employees do we have that are parked all day? Is there enough, after they come to work, is there any place to park to go shopping? I don't know about that.
Well, I love when I see a store owner parking their car right in front of their store. It's like, I got no business. Well, get your car out of there.
That's right. I think that's true, and I think people do park for long periods of time there. But you're right. I think you got to pay the piper. You got to pay somebody that's in that business. We tried parking meters. Parking meters don't work. I don't know whether these new type. I had to go to court up in Lawrence. Lawrence Superior Court, and they have these like robot things. You go there, you pay the money there, and it takes care of like the 10 parking spaces around. That's
right.
How they do it now. I don't know. I don't even know how it works. But it was nice, neat. Everything was signs all over. This is how we do it. But years ago, we had parking meters. We had diagonal parking. All of those things they tried. But now, I'm not so sure that maybe the cars were a little smaller now. They could maybe squeeze a few more in. I don't know. It's a problem, though. It is a problem. But I don't know whether if you the biggest place. Well, I think you get a little spot behind the city hall. You could put cars there, but then they have all the employees are there with the cars. Behind the Towanda Club is a good place, but my wife is not walking to Roma's for bread parking down behind the Towanda Club. So
there's definitely a re-education process that comes with any parking.
That's
but,
right.
When you go to downtown Boston, no one has a problem with walking 5 blocks, but when you go to downtown Woburn, you want to park right in front of Citizens Bank.
So what else? What are you guys doing now? The facility over there, Benchmark, that got approved the other night?
The Special Permits Committee approved that, I think, 4-1.
So that's going to come out next week?
That'll be our next full meeting, yep.
So one got to be Arlene, right?
No, it was,
no?
Michael Concannon voted against it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Or maybe she's not on the committee. Because, I mean, that's her ward. I would think she'd have to say no. I don't know.
No, she's on. No, I think she was a yes vote. But I think what he was looking for was that they're going to give some easements around the property, and Michael wanted them on all 3 sides. The entire site. And they wouldn't agree to that, so he voted against it. So
They got them on Washington Street, though.
So for a good portion of Washington Street,
Yeah.
and also on Salem Street. So at the critical points. But there's something to be said to get the easements all the way around for future use. But it doesn't affect their setbacks.
No. I mean, that's a big piece of property. I don't know if they're going to fill it right up with a building. I don't know about that, but it's going to change that whole area right there.
It is. I think.
But I think the people in the government are looking at it from a jobs and a tax situation, right?
Yeah, I think you have to look at it from jobs that are going to be created,
Yeah.
Also the tax revenue that's going to be generated, but also whether it fits there. And you know, I have the nursing. I have the Francis Street nursing home at the end of my street. You know, it's not bad. It's not bad. So
It's been there a long time, though.
yeah, it's been there a long time. I'm used to it, but but I get the traffic all day. It's
And the
not
owner
that bad.
was a very, very well-liked person. Gershon Salter was like a wonderful person because he went through the whole thing. He was older than me, but I knew him pretty good. But he went through the whole. He put a addition on there. I remember there was just a one building. He put an addition on there, maybe around 1960 or something like that. And then, but he in those days when he was there, it was like, gosh, my mother's sick, you know. Bring it down.
Right.
We'll watch it for a week or so, you know, or whatever, you know. But nowadays, with the government's involved and all that kind of stuff, so it's harder to do any business there.
Well, they know how to do everything better than us. So
Yeah, supposedly, supposedly.
I'm
yeah,
a little
they
bit
do.
sarcastic.
Yeah.
There. But no, but they've been a great neighbor, and I think the people are the neighbors
They've been-
down
yeah, I
there
think
are
they
going to
agree.
find that
I think they
it's
agree.
not as bad as they think. That there's not going to be nonstop sirens going back into the facility and out.
What
of the
about the
facility.
car dealer? What can we do with him?
That goes in front of the committee, the special permits committee again next week.
I mean, they haven't said no. It's dragging on too long. I don't understand that. They
Yeah.
should have said no or yes. and
At
said,
some point, you
"Let's
got
go."
to. I've been on special permits before,
Yeah.
so I'm not on it now. It's not an easy committee to be on.
Absolutely, you're
You're
right.
not you can't be everybody's friends, and you
Nope.
got to make tough decisions. And I think this, and I know Dickie's getting a little bit frustrated that these things have been dragging on, and he does a great job, I think, running the special permits. So they'll come to grips with it. But you know what? You'd rather go them a little bit slow and make the right decision than make a knee-jerk reaction decision and make the wrong decision. So we'll see. You know, I'm not playing Monday morning
But I
quarterback
see,
on that one.
the city of Woburn is about the only city around that gets into that kind of business, a special permit business. You know, I mean, we have zoning. We have who was it? Tommy Quinn is the chief zoning
Enforcement
enforcer.
officer, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you go down there and say I want to put cars there, and he says no, that's no. Then he can appeal to the Board of Appeals or go wherever he
Right.
wants.
Well, I mean, there's the,
Because the city-
opinion of the city solicitor is that these aren't even legal under our zoning code. But we've given out 3 or 4 of them.
That's right.
So, should we give out another one because we were wrong all these other times, or should we say, okay, this is the last one and we're
one.
not doing it again?
Yeah. Because I say
Just
to-
because you did it wrong before doesn't mean you should
No,
continue doing
because
it.
Because for some reason or another, over a period of years, the city council, rather than push stuff away to people who know what they're doing and do it all day long, have turned the other way and said, we will take that responsibility. You know, we'll take the responsibility of giving the guy a permit, and then put 33 amendments on his special permit, like where the trash is going to be dumped, and nobody's going to run around and see where the trash dumpster is 10 years from now. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. You say, geez, just get out of that business. They used to be in the permit business for giving out 2-family housing permit. If you want to turn your house into a 2-family, you had to go before the city council. The first thing you did was count votes first before you even went, because you
Right, that's
forget
not how
about
it should be. And
No.
I don't necessarily agree that that's, I think the things that come before us for special permits are usually before us correctly. And the ones that aren't, I think most of the time we catch them before they get too far and say, hey, this is a zone. Because there's times where they don't want to go before the zoning board, they'll try to go before us.
Yeah,
And
right,
we've
yeah.
said, whoa, that's not us.
Yeah.
Sorry. and then they go to the zoning board. So we do need to be a little bit more vigilant on that. I think when one got by us with these parking lots, these commercial.
So where
overnight.
are you going to let me get my dope store? Where am I getting my marijuana?
Well, you know, we
store?
have to deal with that. So the moratorium is in effect, and you know, I'm not a big fan of it, but I recognize that it's legal. We need to either provide for it somewhere in our zoning, or it's can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So no one else wants to take the bull by the horns, I guess, and prepare the ordinance and put it somewhere. So I'll do that. We're going to put it. I would say my suggestion would be where we allow the adult entertainment.
Okay, yeah,
you
well,
know,
people don't
in the
even know.
industrial.
People don't even know we have every city in town in Commonwealth has
right.
to have a spot.
Yes, right.
You know, so I said I'm going to go down.
Freedom of expression.
I'm going to go down to Winchester and ask them where theirs is, because I want to see if I can open a marijuana store in their adult entertainment store, wherever theirs.
I think they probably will send to north of the border. They'll try to anyway.
Try to anyway.
But I think that we have to address that, and time is up. You know, it's legal, so it's going to be regulated.
But I mean, they may never make a decision. The Department of Public Health, they kicked the can down the road so far now. I don't know if it's ever going to come back up there. You know, everybody that applied for a license was either a crook or
I know, but you know as well as I know that in another 5 years, in another 10 years, you're going to be able to.
Oh, it'd probably be legal, you mean?
Oh, it's going to be everywhere.
You think so?
They'll be selling in the package store for crying out
They
loud.
should. That's what people say. Like the thing coming on the ballot about the casinos. People say they're against the casinos. People are not against casinos. They're against the system of how this whole process came up. You know, I mean, I thought the governor would call you up and say, "Yeah, I'm going to appoint you as chairman of getting a casino." And they guys come in and say, "Mike, this is my plan. I'll give you $1 billion. We're going to build a casino over here." And you say, "Okay." So 10 guys come in, and then you pick, and it's done. All this just baloney. You guys traveling all over.
It's like legal payoffs. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the whole process is gross. If people had known what the process was going to be, they would have voted against it in the first place. And that's why
right.
it has a chance on the ballot to go down in flames, is because people don't like the way that it's come out.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so if you say to the person, the ordinary person, like the gang members, they say, "I'm not against casinos, but I'm going to vote against it because this is crazy." You know, these people are.
You could see it from day one, not to interrupt you, but from day one, they came up with this cockamamie approach where you're going to have one in this region, one in this region, one in that region, and people are going to have to bid for it. And then you're going to have, you know, there were so many moving pieces to the whole thing that it was, you know, it's fraught with ways that it can go down in flames.
And now all these guys that own these casinos, they own more than one, you know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
So they own them all over. Now we have to investigate. They had to pay $500,000 just to be investigated. What are they going to investigate?
The amount of money that this commission has gone through
is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And you're talking about casinos and how successful they are. They're closing them down in Atlantic
City. Yeah. So I don't think I'd be against it now. What about if you were the mayor of Everett? And he's got some problems in his own background, but if you could get this guy to come up there and clean up the Mystic River and that whole Monsanto chemical site and put a casino there, Jesus, I'd be begging them to come to town. You know
I know. I mean, there you recapture your entire waterfront,
Yep.
and it's going to be beautiful. I mean, you go to these casinos; they are
beautiful.
They're gorgeous. It's just what happens in the surrounding area that. But right, you're going to get, and then you get the neighbor agreements or the neighborhood community agreements, which are just.
They just say they're going to pay everybody $1 million that's close. If you're close, we'll give you $1 million. And part of that Atlantic City deal was that those guys never paid anybody anything. They made all these deals, and now what do you do with them after they fail? You know.
Yeah,
but I say if this guy cleaned up the Mystic River and Monsanto chemicals, and 5 years later went out of business, thank you very much. We'll put condos there, you know.
maybe, or you're going to get another casino in there, and it's going to be.
I want no casinos.
I was against it to begin with. I don't think it's a way to base your business on, and you're seeing the NIMBY, the not in my backyards coming out. Everyone's like, yeah, oh sure, that's a great idea. I had this guy come to me. He was a real estate developer, a good friend of mine, and he was telling me how we need to have the zoning laws, city by city. That's not the way we need to do it. We need to have a regional zoning plan. No. And my response was, and he lives in Sudbury, and I was like, you know what? You're exactly right. We'll put the dump in Sudbury. What? It's not in my backyard.
Yeah, but if you know anything about the west of the Mississippi River, where they have county government, and they do that, whoa, boy, they have big problems, you know what I mean? You have a county police department and a county this and a county that, and they run everything. There's no cities or towns. That's why these guys don't want to come here, because you have to deal with Woburn, Winchester, Medford, all that kind of stuff, which is just
well, that's why we got rid of a lot of the county stuff, is because of the problems with it. But we still have it because there's all these federal grant programs for the county, for counties, and our county government or entities qualify for that money.
So we got a couple of minutes. What do you think? Want to say something to the residents of Ward 4, or just want to say have a nice summer? And go ahead.
Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful summer. It's been the weather's been pretty nice. We've had a few big bouts of rain, which has been good for the aquifer. But as always, I live in Woburn. I work in Woburn. If people have problems, they can call me up. I was talking to a gentleman the other day who has a fence issue. Dropped my legal pad, got up in my car, was right over his house. So I'm available. I'm amenable. Try to help constituents with the problems. Primary role being putting them in touch with the right person to address their problems. So if it's the building inspector they need to talk to, I know I got them on my cell phone. We put them in touch. If it's the director of the DPW, same thing. If it's the mayor who has the final call, which happens on some of these things, if someone calls you up and says, I need a catch basin in front of my house, we got to deal with the mayor on that. But I'm still enjoying my job. Someone asked me, Tom Lawton asked me this morning, do you still enjoy the politics? And I don't like the politics. It's, if you're thinking about things, well, how are the voters going to react if we do this? That's ass backwards. That's not how you do it. You make the right decision. If you make the right decision, the people are going to agree with you and support you.
They'll be right with you. If you make the right decision, they're going to be right with you. There's no
so forget the politics. Let them have that in Washington.
Yeah, that's right. Or in the state. Can you imagine?
Not even the state. There's too much of that going on in the state. Government's too fat.
Thanks for coming in, Mike.
My pleasure.
Look at it. Listen to him now. You hear what he says? He's saying, call him up if you got a problem. His constituent service business is right there, and that's what we want. Next time.